Hey y'all, my name is Dan. I've been both an individual contributor on engineering teams and an engineering leader, and today we're going to be discussing the one onboarding tip that every senior engineer I've ever worked with seems to magically know, and that is take notes. So first and foremost, let's talk about environment setup. When you join a new team, you're probably going to be setting up your development environment either the first day or definitely within the first week. And you're going to want to take notes on things like, is the wrong command in the README? Does a particular package fail to install? And if so, what is the right command? How do you get that package to install? Don't just keep track of the issues you encounter, but also how you resolve those issues, and take notes maybe in a Google Doc so that once you resolve the issues, you can go back and then update the documentation, which is going to help your team level up. It's going to show that you're proactive, that you're organized, and it's going to help other people who onboard after you. Now, if you're an engineering manager, you can get out ahead of onboarding this new person and getting their environment set up by making sure that projects have READMEs and specifying how they can get set up with those projects. And then once the teammate comes onto the team, give them a blank Google Doc to use as an onboarding journal. It doesn't have to be fancy, but just ask them, hey, take notes on your onboarding experience, and then we can use that to level up our documentation once we know what issues you encountered. So that's environment setup. The second thing we'll talk about is business logic or domain-specific knowledge. The big thing to note here is, as an engineer, domain-specific knowledge is a force multiplier on your productivity. You're not just being paid to write code, you're being paid to understand the business, its users, the market, and then put that business logic into code. So you need to understand how the business works, how it operates, and onboarding is a great time to get a lot of early questions out of the way and take notes for future folks who are onboarding after you. So first of all, make sure to take notes so that you can write an FAQ page for future folks. If you're a manager, write that FAQ page yourself and then encourage the person onboarding to take notes on the ways that that FAQ page can get better. So here are a list of sample questions. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you're going to want to make sure to ask questions about the end users, the team, the market. What happens if your product disappears? What will your users do? What problem does this product solve for those users? Make sure to really understand how this fits into the life of your users, and what is the champagne popping moment that you want to get your users to. There are a lot of micro decisions that you're going to make day to day as you're writing code, and understanding the answers to these questions is going to help you manage those micro decisions on, hey, should I prioritize this feature or this other feature, or what should I be optimizing for as I'm writing this code. So really make sure to understand the domain-specific knowledge. And then again, if you're a manager, write that FAQ beforehand so that the person onboarding has some, can sort of start from somewhere. And last but not least, workplace and team logistics are an important part of onboarding. They can sometimes be a little bit boring. Like, hey, do you have credentials for Jira and Slack and GitHub and all these things? Also setting up payroll, your benefits, healthcare, that kind of stuff. It can be boring, but it's important to get right. And it's an energy drain if it drags on. If it takes a long time to get this stuff set up, it's going to feel more and more like a chore over time. So the best thing you can do when you're onboarding is just get out ahead of it, get it done early. If you're the person joining the team, make a checklist of the things that you go through so that you can hand that checklist to the company afterwards if they don't already have one. If you're a manager, before this person joins your team, make that checklist yourself and then ask them to enhance the checklist. Also, if you're a manager, getting these things done early builds trust with the people on your team. It may be boring to set up somebody's healthcare benefits, but it's super important to their lives, and getting that done right early shows them, hey, I've got your back. I'm your manager. I am thinking about this stuff. I'm not just here to give you Jira tickets for you to crank out features. I'm also here to have your back when your benefits are on the line, when your pay is on the line. So make sure to get that stuff done early, especially if you're a manager. And that's it, folks. The number one takeaway here is onboarding materials always need some love, and it's a great way for a new person joining an engineering team to have a big win under their belt right out of the gate. So whether you're a manager who's onboarding somebody or an engineer who's joining a team for the first time, make sure to take notes during your onboarding and then level up your team's documentation, whether that's technical documentation or non-technical documentation. So I hope you enjoyed this. And then, let me know in the comments below, what onboarding tips have you used? What onboarding practices have you seen other people use to effectively onboard onto a team? Let's help each other level up together. Thanks. Last thing is, if you want this as a blog post, I have written this up, so I'll link that in the description below. Feel free to hit it up there. So subscribe if you like this, and I might set up a newsletter for this kind of thing too, if you want it in written form.